And actually, I think that's more likely to happen in the mid lane in this game than it is in the safe lane.
I'm a little bit torn on this. I'm not sure where they're going to be heading, but I have the obligatory pause at the start of the game as we get ourselves ready and underway into this one. This Disruptor, the hero that we don't see a hell of a lot of. Usually it's kind of a reaction pick. Outside of CIS teams who'd really like that glimpse play to try and bring themselves into these team fights and just continue turning one kill into a secondary pick-off and then into a third. But his laning prowess is pretty good. Against the Slardar, you've got that Thunderstrike to really zone out the Slardar. Do you think it's going to be with a solo jab Slardar off lane, Mypro the mid-win ranger, then you run a defensive tri lane bot, but obviously the Winter Wyvern will be moving towards mid to try and get you that laning kind of upgrade with the old Arctic Burn onto the Invoker. It's incredibly annoying.
Yeah, Disruptor, you're right, it's not a hero that we see that often outside of particular teams. I do think that it's a hero we should come to see more for MVP Phoenix. It absolutely fits their style. Part of the pick might be a block pick against the Wisp because they plan on getting it, although, as we've discussed many times in the past, the Winter Wyvern is usually a better direct counter pick. But just the playstyle of MVP Phoenix, where they exactly do like to go for what you're saying. And I mean, if you look at the Wisp, Bristleback, and Tiny, it makes it pretty clear that they want to get those fights where once they make one kill, they'll make all the kills because no one's getting away. And it's funny, actually, I've been casting the Mars Dota TV Open Chinese qualifier, and there was actually a team whose captain's nickname was MVP Dota Best Dota. And like they proceeded to play like it's literally like a play style now.
Oh, really?
Which is like the kind of I gotta say, like, it's basically what they do is they force the aggression early, and it's funny because it was just like MVP. Like, they had a mid player who died a few times at the start, like Q, and then they just like kept being aggressive anyway, regardless, and eventually fought their way back into the game. And that's something that's always stood out to me from MVP and from a lot of other SEA teams, is the ability to just lose fights but insist on getting back into the game by winning fights regardless.
It's the Russian way as well. Vegas Squadron love to do that. Like if your first bout of aggression fails, you double down on aggression, just go even more to that one. I like what you were saying though before about the Bristleback though. That's something that kind of escaped my mind, the old Wisp Bristleback combination that MVP have loved to run in the past. The fact that they've got that to fall back on. Is the Tiny going to be the main partner here? That's what I'm looking at. Because if you run the aggressive dual lane with Wisp Bristle, you can have Disruptor Tiny top and have Invoker mid, and just have strong dual lanes again.
The battle begins.
Yeah, I think you're right. So, and it actually looks like that's probably what's happening here.
And you look at what Trust are doing.
And Wisp Bristleback is so difficult to deal with, whereas solo Bristleback not actually that difficult to deal with. So I think this is going to put pressure to at least send one of the supports to the safe lane. Sure, Slaughter's meant to be an off-laner, so it's fine if he has a difficult lane. But I think he's going to have an exceptionally difficult lane if he has to 1v2. And yeah, sure enough, we do see the Winter Wyvern looking like it might head to that bot lane to start with. And this is going to be one of the rare games where mid lane starts as a 1v1 from the beginning of the game.
Ah, that's insane. Never seen this before in my life. Wind Ranger against Invoker 1v1. You're right, this kind of status quo is being definitely upset with the dual lane from MVP. Now, let's Slardar across already, but let's just take a look across. So Juggernaut Witch Doctor's up at top, got the spin plus stun, but it's Tiny Disruptor. These guys have stuns to throw out themselves. They've got good ways of disengaging and stopping the aggression, I feel. Oh, Forev getting hit by the Arctic Burn, but Bebby's here with the crush onto him. Jab is actually going to go for the kill. He's got stick charges, one more hit, not enough. Jab is still looking to dive under the tower, but he's got the stick charges to heal up from Febby. He's crossed, he's dead here. No real way of escaping as he got very aggressive while up at top lane. Disruptor dives from the Juggernaut, but Kells does himself a kill up there. So this dual lane scenario for Signature.Trust definitely working out a little bit better in the early stages.
Yeah, it looked like it might be advantageous for MVP before the rotation, but now both lanes are 2v2, it kind of does make sense to me that Signature.Trust have stronger lanes. The Juggernaut is like kind of famous for being possibly the strongest, if not maybe Gyrocopter core at the early levels in a 2v2 situation. And yeah, the Wisp Bristleback, similar story, kind of needs some levels to get online. So on both sides, I think MVP are gonna have to dial it back a bit. I mean, we're not used to them doing that, but I don't think it's that easy for them to win either of these lanes with just straight up aggression.
This mid lane as well is going pretty decently for the Invoker, which I'm actually quite surprised at. The win range is losing out on last hits. My pro is getting outlaned here by this Invoker, who has gone for the Class Wax build. He's gone... It's a 1-1 build, it's pretty standard. He's got no Blades of Attack with the null talisman up. He's going to take a chunk of damage there, but Dubu, are you sure about this? The trade-off's not going to be really favourable for you as the cold snap. Thrown out. Meanwhile, down the bottom lane though, Mikasa trying to get the kill on the Femi, but it's not enough. And now Forever's got the chase in there with Quill Sprays up in a little while. Get the punches down.
Yeah, the interesting thing about the mid lane is solo ranked warrior sort of keeping up with the win range on CS, despite not going for that early value alacrity. So it definitely does say something about the play, I think. Like impressive by solo ranked warrior to just be getting that many last hits. And actually win range has got no mana here, so I think that MyPro needs to be careful coming forward here, because there's a tornado and a cold snap.
I'm sure Invoker should not be winning this hard. Like, unless you go for the Wex Exort build with the Alacrity level 3, like I was saying before, it should be difficult to lane against this Wind Ranger in a 1v1 vacuum, yeah? Oh. Although it does die at bottom lane, Forever escapes with about 20 health. Get healed up by the
Yeah, and if you look at Mikasa had four stacks, so you can kind of see what happened. There was a bit of a dive from the Signature.Trust side, and I think that's actually a very good way for MVP to succeed in their aggression. If they sort of play the victim, get all those stacks off, and then suddenly turn around.
Poor Kiwo. This Tiny's not having a good time at all. 8 last hits up on this top lane, and the aggressive dual lane is really piling on the pressure here onto MVP. I think once this old Invoker, he's got his phase boots very soon, he's got his brand boots plus Blades of Attack. Once he starts running around, we saw it from Sumail last night actually with the Class Wax Invoker, just dominating everywhere. He hit like level 8, level 9, he had phase boots earned, and he just went around killing people. He was destroying every single lane. He just left the laning phase, said, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm done with your nonsense harassing me and trying to kill me. I'm going to go and kill the rest of your teammates. Now, up against this Trust side, sure they've got a lot of regen, but if they get hit by that Tornado EMP Cold Snap, they are very squishy, right? Slardar, if he's got sprints on, there's the Witch Doctor Wyvern, who can't really last through it. Speaking of Wyvern, escaping Mikasa, level 3, 180 HP, actually trying to get himself back into the jungle to hide. But MVP, they've got a tanky lineup, they've got a lot of damage over time, especially, but there's also the nuke power out from Invoker and Tiny that you really have to worry about.
Yeah, it's I mean, I think that the one big trump card for Signature.Trust draft-wise is that they have this Slaughter. I think that the amp damage solves so many of their problems. You know, if Bristleback isn't tanky, if you can counteract, or if you can just burst down the Wisp quickly, suddenly the damage output from MVP is not that scary and you can fight into them. Because as we described early on, it's as the game unfolds, when we get to those team fights, which are usually so decisive in the current metagame, we're going to see a situation where if MVP starts ahead in a team fight, they're probably going to wipe the whole of Trust. So Trust needs to be able to take those fights, and I think that's going to have a lot to do with their slaughter in this game. Well, mid lane is an attempt at the Invoker, but the Shackle does not latch.
Yeah, Wyvern's just trying to find his place here, because he can't stay at bottom lane, you know. Sure, he can maybe keep the Slaughter alive, play that sort of passive role where he turns around and plays the old Arctic Burn back onto these heroes, playing aggressive into this tier 1. But I think just leave the Slaughter, sack him down here, push tier 1 up at top, try and get some early gold in your pocket. While this Disruptor is not available. Oh, wow. Tiny under the tower. And down there.
Killing spree.
Oh,
yeah, I gotta say though.
Oh, he's gonna get himself hit by the tower now. It looks like Forev might just die. This is a crush up for jab. Forev should have the movement speed and the damage to take him down. Slaughter not gonna hit by that cross spray.
Radiant's bottom tower
Maybe he's gonna be fine. Actually has the movement speed with a sprint to get himself out of range.
Yeah, so just barely making out, despite not having any boots and Bristleback having treads, so very important Slytherin crash. But I gotta say, in a bizarre way, even though Kyo is like generally the star player for MVP, he is the most expendable player early on. We see it time and time again. Like he very often gets early deaths in games where his team ends up just going ahead. And well, mid lane solo ranked warrior is going 1-on-1 against MyPro, but MyPro's triggered, well, has got the win run. Didn't actually trigger it yet, just triggered the haste.
And the haste, yeah.
And that's gonna chase.
Meanwhile,
solo ranked warrior with it.
You're looking at die jungle. Actually, we'll have a look at bot first jab. He's getting chased down here. He uses Crush already, and Forev will back up, but jungle. Have a look at this for a second, because QO is about to hit level 6. We get a ton of gold, but Micro bottom lane back to here with the damage of the Forever and got power shot. Is it going to be enough damage though? Because Forever is tanking with the stick charge and he turns back. And look at this Wind Ranger drop. They don't really have enough to finish him off. With 4 heroes down here, Trusts are desperately with power shot. Man, Micro gets the kill from downtown, and they get the double as well with that kill on the Wisp.
And that's very important, I think, because other than the offlane Spirit Breaker, I feel like the Wisp Bristleback was actually MVP Phoenix's like strongest offlane at TI. It was March playing it back then, but I feel like their strategy in those games was always, Bristleback gets really big and actually makes space for the other 2 cores. Which is why, can I go back to the fact that, yeah, if we're balancing off Bristleback starting well versus Tiny starting poorly, it's probably okay. But if the Bristleback starts dying, starts getting pressured, that's actually a very positive sign for Signature.Trust and a very negative one for MVP.
Well, a denial on that bottom tier 1. And I fully agree with you. I think this Bristleback has to get stacked. Take these Ancients out in a couple of minutes. Really start running around, because I think the Invoker can fight with him. It's more about the Tiny needing a little bit more time. So for the first 15-20 minutes, let's say, the Wisp Bristleback, they're going to be the ones that group up. They're going to be the pairing, right? The Wisp Bristle. And then after 20-25 minutes, that's when the Tiny has... Does he have anything at all? He bought himself a bottle, actually. QO goes back for that one. But I was wondering, do you need a blink on this Tiny? Do you go straight into like the Treads Drums Aghanim Scepter? Do you go full carry? I think it's a difficult choice.
He will go blink because he's QO. That would be my analysis. Like, I think the choice is difficult in terms of like the circumstances, but I really struggle to see QO being a Tiny without a blink. He wants to be able to see someone and just go on them. Although he's picked up the belt, so I guess he's going for the treads first either way.
Oh, we'll see where he heads. I think with the Witch Doctor Wyvern, going for that blink, they are just easy kills to go and pick up. Blink, you kill, money in your pocket. Get yourself a nice bit of cash. Forever and Febby down at this bottom lane. Not too much for this Wisp, as we can switch over and see net worth now. Yeah, the Bristleback closing in on that 5k net worth, sitting about 4,600. The Juggernaut, what's he up to? Phase Drums. A lot of Boots of Travel's Sanjin Yasha builds on this Juggernaut recently. A couple of people going back to the Mask of Manus, but it's mainly been Battle Fury Juggernaut. That's what you look for. And in this game, I don't know if they need it. They've got 3 cores who can all function as carry heroes, right? They've got Slardar, Wind Ranger, and Juggernaut. They all output physical damage, but also have some magical to throw into the mix as well. So I don't know if he has to go all out into that one role, I am the carry kind of thing. He can just go for the, I'm going to tank up, I'm going to be the stats master, get myself Phase Drums, S&Y, Skadi, something along those lines. Take a look at this Disruptor up at top. Waiting, biding his time, but there's nothing to do here as they will TP down to bottom lane after claiming the tier 1. A glimpse. Mikasa. Did you really do that, Dubu? Yep, he cancelled the TP with a glimpse back. Now Forever's going to be in a 1v1 against Gab. Even with the amplified damage up there, looks like it should be okay for Forever just to turn back and down to tier 1 a little bit more.
Pretty sure when I was watching the DreamHack coverage, because I was statsing for DreamHack, I'm pretty sure PPD said at some point that it's not, Phase Drum is just not the build on Juggernauts anymore. So hopefully he's probably a bit preoccupied at the moment not watching this, but I wasn't too sure why. I think it's just because it's understood mostly the Juggernaut is that like big carry these days, needs to get that Battle Fury or Quick Manta stuff. But I think you're actually right with your analysis in this game that there isn't as much pressure. It's not like, not clear that any of the heroes on MVP, for example, are going to just like run away with the farm if Juggernaut doesn't have that fast Battle Fury.
A lot of the time when we see Juggernaut now, he's kind of put into that Phantom Lancer role where it's, he carries or nothing kind of thing. You need that Battle Fury, and now we're looking at Lakel's actually getting stuck in the kinetic field. He could maybe find his way out of this one, but the chase is on. They kill off the Slardar down the bottom lane, and the QO, he runs into that Witch Doctor's hit out. And Lakel, he's actually in here with the spin up. I don't think he can escape, even with the Omni Slash back. The hits aren't going to be favorable for him, and with that final right click out from Febby, he got that kill. They killed the Disruptor as well. It looks like MyPro will just keep himself at a good distance. But MVP Phoenix there, 3-for-1 trade-off. Definitely good for them. Now, can they convert this into anything else? Because tier 1 mid is pretty healthy. The tier 1 top, Wave's nowhere near it. But it does get a lot of money for QO.
Half of like, this is kind of just the thing that always happens. I feel like when I watch this team, sometimes QO starts with like lots and lots of kills in his lane, but very regularly he gets a bit shut down. and then they just take the first couple of fights, and all of a sudden, game on.
Oh, my pro has a lot of catching up to do, I feel. It's 12 minutes in, and this is kind of where you want to be as a Wind Ranger. You know, phase, bottle, magic wand, and a point booster. But he needs to be ahead, in my opinion. He needs to be actually going and being active. Maybe this is the period of the game where they're starting to do this, because forever he's put himself in a pretty awful position here. Even with a whip, head the back, remember relocating away, and they kill off the Slaughter? Lakel's managed to get in there with some damage, but forever just being healed up. Heavy came in at exactly the right time, and they can maybe turn a fight. Lakel, no Omni Slash, no spin, no health left, and no armor either. With a toss from Tiny, they catch him with this solo ranked warrior on the Invoker, and he's got Invoke back up in 10 seconds time, but Forever's just tanking and cruising through everything. Takes down a bunch. Go getting his hands on a double kill. And that was without your Disruptor. That was without your team fight hero, right? That was just running.
Exactly, if Disruptor's there, they get the 5th kill as well. And that's what we spoke about during the draft, that this is a draft that once the team fight starts, if they get the first kill and you need to run, you're all dead. So it is scary for Signature.Trust. They need to be in a position to run, you know, head on into the fight and take it. At the moment, I think with Omni Slash down, no Wind Wipe and ulti, it's difficult for them. And I think this actually goes back to the point you're making about the Wind Ranger. You said needs to be ahead. I agree, Wind Ranger needs to be ahead because the way that Wind Ranger keeps up in the mid-game of fights usually is by making kills. This is not a hero. I mean, sometimes in PUBG you see Rash Maelstrom, but usually in a professional game it's the Rash Aghanim Scepter, and you need to actually convert that into kills to keep the farm up. You don't flash farm with the hero. But if you're behind, if you get your Ags when they're already all prepared for you, you're not going to be making those kills, and then you are going to be dropping off.
Yeah, I really think the Maelstrom was the way to go here, especially when if you view this as the 1v1 it was, Wind Ranger against Invoker, the Wind Ranger has lost that lane. By going even with the Invoker, you've lost that lane, because you should be crushing that. And obviously this comes down to the dual lane off lane that MVP ran with the Wisp Bristle, forcing the Wyvern to be there, keep getting killed off a couple of times, which also has this knock-on effect where she's just hit level 6, have mana for the Winter's Curse yet, so you can't contest Roshan. Can't stop MVP getting their hands on his Aegis, so they're just going to try and trade off farm as much as they can. At top, get themselves ready up here.
And actually, Cure hasn't gone for the blinkers yet. He started with the drum. I mean, it definitely actually contributes more overall, I would say, to have a drum when your whole team is kind of just diving together this early on in the game. And he does have the Wisp, but Wisp actually going to pair up with Bristleback.
Can't catch the Witch Doctor, and they cannot stop these TPs out. So Lakel's Mal will get themselves away from this rough scenario, but Dubu has actually seen Jab here, will glimpse him back into the kinetic field, and with QO there, Avatos is all he needs. Actually kill him off.
And this Slaughter just never getting to his blink dagger, like slowly trying to crawl his way there, but every time he gets closer, he goes down. And the Juggernaut, we spoke about, should he have gone for a quicker Battle Free? Now I'm starting to wonder because, you know, if your player's going to be too far, and when they go for you spin and TP out, then your farm needs to be giving you like a lot of value. I think if you're not rashing that Battle Free and you max that spin, you kind of need to be able to fight into the enemy team. It's something I've said over and over. But the problem I think right now is that they want to have the blink on their Slaughter. I don't think that Trust want to force the fight until they have it, and I think MVP Phoenix know that, and it means they can just force down plenty of objectives in the meantime.
And then you're looking at QO, who had an atrocious start to his laning phase. You know, he got killed off a couple of times, his tier 1 died very early on, and this Tiny, he's come back really amazingly. 6k net worth, he's got Treads drums now with the Aegis, and 1500 gold in the bank on top of all of this. I think he is going for what I was saying earlier, is just the kind of rush into the carry build. Oh, the Slaughter caught again. The creep is stolen. He won't die, but his farm is disrupted. That's the big thing. MyPro's going to look for this invis at top, but QO takes it, bottles it up, and now he's on the hunt. The dust is out, and with this Flamar, Witch Doctor dead already. The shackle will lapse, but MyPro, you don't have the damage, you don't have any reveal left if QO can just walk this one up. Jab will try and get in there with the crush. Maybe with the Winter's Curse, they can turn it back. They'll actually not land it just yet. Still waiting. As this Wind Ranger trapped in that static storm, and the Wyvern didn't even get a chance. No Winter's Curse. Big deal there.
Yeah, and Forever and the Crimson Guard.
They just had vision. This Invoker goes back in, cancels TP with the Cold Snap, and he's picking it out. How the fuck did they see me in there? Like, I honestly don't know. Cold Snap happened before the tornado.
So, this is kind of what I've been talking about, and this is kind of the way the metagame works at the moment in most games. you have these few big skirmishes and fights that happen off the lane stage, and those usually decide the game. And MVP Phoenix, I think, take advantage of the fact that they know that this is what's happening. They're good at this playstyle, and they kind of take it to its limits. The bristleback pickup, I mean, that mech, that Crimson Guard, we're not in a position where I keep saying Signature.Trust can't run away. They're gonna keep getting caught if they run away. They need to fight head on. But how do you fight head on into the mech and the Crimson Guard? You just can't. So they're stuck. They're completely stuck, and I gotta say there isn't an easy solution for Signature.Trust, even if they get that slaughter blink, to come back out of this, because any fight that MVP's whole team is at just seems like a fight that they almost automatically win right now.
Forever now has a plate mail. It's 17 minutes in, he has 27 armor, there's nobody going to be doing anything to him. And then if you want to look at solutions, the big one that is always brought up, right? You're being pressured, you're being pushed into tier 3s before, pre-20 minutes. What do you do to stop them? Oh, you just split push, you get heroes across the map, you spread thin across the lanes as much as you can. And you gain value and farm in places which they can't touch, or they can't get to quickly or efficiently. How do you split push against a Blink Tiny, against a Glimpse Disruptor, against a Tornado Invoker, and then the biggest thing is the bloody Wisp Relocate? How do you actually stop? And the short answer is it's almost impossible. You are going to have
on top of that.
Like, you look at bot lane right now, Lekels is desperately trying, but he has no TP. He can spin, but he's going to get chased down here. Forever will take out the healing ward and it'll just slow him down. Surely this will force him back. He's not going to get killed off. But same with the Slardar. His farm has been halted, and it took 2 heroes to do it.
And it's I want to say it's both both difficulty split pushing. Well, actually, Kyo's gonna wrap around his smoke breaks. He knows there's someone here and he's gonna go for the blink.
Yeah, they find my throat. Static Storm is down. The heal is there onto my Wind Ranger. That's with the relocate in. Looks like he'll take out that Winter Wyvern, no problems on the back end. Actually, still a rank warrior, shackled up for the kills, looking for the kills, the level 2 Omni Slash, and he will kill that Invoker. But Febby,
Kyo's got blink.
Trying to kill back onto that nasty little Wind Ranger now. The kills, he's got the boss in 1 second's time. But that cask saving the life of the Juggernaut QO. I know you like to dive. Even with the Aegis, I don't think it's worth chasing the Juggernaut behind tier 3s.
Radiant's top tower is
Yeah,
under
the
attack.
game is in such a dire state for Signature.Trust right now that I think it's like a very positive sign they managed to kill the Invoker there. Even though I hardly think that's like the player that's going to bring them back into the game. And yeah, just building on what you were saying before, sure, Slaughter's got blink now, but there's one question about can you split push and avoid dying? Well, Slaughter's not going to, he's going to die right now. But there's a second question about, even if you're avoiding dying, are you getting good value? And Juggernaut until now didn't have a battle free. We spoke about the Wind Ranger. Sorry, excuse me. We spoke about the Wind Ranger that didn't go for the Maelstrom Bolt, so it doesn't really have that ability to split really effectively. So it's like, it's very risky,
Radiant's
and the
top
reward
tower
isn't even that
is under
big.
attack.
Which again goes back to like, you need to take these fights, but how do you win these fights? Well, they're going to try and initiate on Q in the top lane. There's no Omni Staff.
He doesn't have Aegis anymore, and he will die here with the Shackle being a good cast. He hopes to cure that. Winter Wyvern finds the kill, so they get the mega kill streak off Tiny. Slow down his progression a little bit there, and Dubu hiding in the trees. Once again, he's in these positions where he's trying to stop TP, stop
Radiant's
aggression.
bottom tower is
Not
under
in the
attack.
best positions to save his time down up on that top lane. So now Trust, they can actually push. They can push hard into tier 2 top, maybe take it. Still worrying about the relocate in from this bristleback though, as the Wisp, Debbie, good position, very far back, and here we go, relocate in. Dubu starts things off onto Lekels. With Static Storm field there, Juggernaut will get the kill initially, but Forever will just keep chasing and pounding into Lekels Juggernaut and finish him off. Meanwhile, over the side, yeah, Witch Doctor, he's killed off as well. With the relocate, they get the Juggernaut and the Witch Doctor, only really losing that Disruptor. And that's just revenge for them. Yield are tiny, we know we're ahead. Stop you pushing into the tier 2.
Yeah, it was a very well-timed gank from Signature.Trust to go for Cure right after the Aegis ran out, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like after the lane stage went well for the MVP, after Bristleback had such a good start, it just becomes an outdraft. I don't know if Signature.Trust are going to have enough opportunities this game where, Cure or someone is just on their own exposed for them to come back into the game. I really do. I mean, I've said it a few times, but I really do feel like when you're behind, the way to come back in the current meta is to win a few team fights, not to make a few pickups. Like, you can try with the split push, but unless you're getting a lot of value and never dying, it's not likely to be what brings you in. So I'm still kind of looking toward if there can be like a really big Winter's Curse to win a fight, or a really big Shackle, something like that to keep Signature.Trust hopes alive.
You know when things are going really, really badly in your game, and you just go, right, we've got nowhere safe on the map, we've got a good ward up at top, you know, aggressively there, and a good ward now just placed by the Witch Doctor over in this jungle. They were basically 5-man farming the jungle. Yeah, Mikasa's dead here. He's got the curse down on the Femi, he's a top forward, though, kills Slardar, and now Mikasa's dead, heals Ruben the mech, and then he's not even gonna drop. He'll chase down the kills, he's got no spin, he's got no armor left, and with the tornado, not able to catch Wind Ranger. They'll only get that Juggernaut, except there is Doobie here with a glimpse back. The Death Ward is good back on the forever. Oh, clear up at least a disruptor, but I think this is just over. Signature.Trust are getting run down. One by one by one by one. And they've got nothing left to give. A buyback on the Wing Structure is available. But this is tier 3. This is maybe even racks.
Yeah, it's I mean, I gotta go back to the draft every time. All the ingredients for a successful MVP draft. You've got the tools that force you to fight, the tools that stop you from being able to run, and then the tools that pretty much guarantee they win the fight. It all really comes down to Bristleback getting so big, and Bristleback is the net worth leader by a very, very far at the moment. If somehow he had been slowed down early on, maybe a different game, but after that start, it's just, I don't know what you're meant to do. The Shivas even.
Yeah, it's insane. You know, like we said at the initial stages, MVP set up, Trust reacted, and Trust did well. But then MVP switched things up a second time, and Trust didn't up a second time. So MVP, 5-6 minutes in, they got this foothold in the game where they were like, right, we have changed the pace. We're starting to set where these team fights are happening, where these skirmishes are occurring, where we're getting pickoff. And even though you killed our Tiny twice, even though you killed off the Wisp a couple of times at bottom lane, Bristleback's untouchable. He's 11, 1, and 9, and he's going to get himself Roshan kill here. I guess they give Aegis again to the Tiny. He's nearly got his Aghanim Scepter.
Oh, and JB finishes the Lotus Orb. That's going to be fun to watch, actually. I think all five heroes in Signature.Trust have targets for spells that could reflect on themselves. So, could see some nice, exciting Lotus Orb players still before this game ends.
What's the biggest one? Like Omni Slash, I want to say is the most fun to watch, but Winter's Curse is probably the bigger one.
Yeah, Winter's Curse. I mean, depending on the position, the cast can really be damaging. The Shackle Shot maybe could as well, but it's probably the Winter's Curse. We'll see now. There's gonna be a fight.
Pops, he blinks in, he gets the crush onto 2 and onto the Roshan as well. Over on the side, the Static Storm and Windring has got the kill on the Jungle already with Tiny. Trying to get the Avalanche cross down. Forehead is man loaded through this Orbo. An absolute beast. And it looks like this Invoker will just pop invis, relocate forward. Very short distance there, but it just gets Forever to a better position. Not going to be able to get the kill if the spin TP does complete. Juggernaut's the only one to survive through this. And MVP. They clear up Roshan. Took the Aegis. Tiny did. He's got his Aghanims completed. It looks like this might secure the victory here for MVP Phoenix.
Yeah, we've seen it a few times this game. The one advantage Signature.Trust have had is that Juggernaut can spin TP and no one can do anything about it. But you got to be all in on the farm if that's the only advantage you're going to be abusing. Out of interest, I'm sure that a while back, at least in Dota 2, Tiny could actually toss Juggernaut out of spin. You just couldn't target him with it.
In Dota 2, you cannot toss a solo target. You need something to toss to.
Yeah. But he can do that, so if he's spinning and there's something to toss him to, you can still toss him.
Yeah.
And that will cancel the TP.
Yeah.
Because that's how it used to be. I wasn't sure if it still worked that way.
That's still how it is. I got confused the other. Oh, Cubo. There's your Aegis gone. It looks like there's going to be a amount of a defense here. My pro, he's in between a rock and a hard places forever. He's going to get passed up, but going to guard. Meanwhile, over on the side, Lakel spins, but he's just spinning to run. Real aggressive plays he can make with a backer up on the Bristleback. A good flick stun here. Jab starts things off, initiates with the Lotus Orb onto Forev. There's no real counter. Lackity on QO. Slap, down you go, Juggernaut. Sit down on my pro. Trying his damnedest to kill off QO, but he's just healed up, but GG is cool. They now calls it. Looks like even with its last stitch after here from Trust, it's all over. Game number 1 goes away to MVP Phoenix.
Just like the Fnatic series I cast, I feel like MVP Phoenix look like they're literally a tier ahead in this game. This is like the MVP that surprised everyone in the top 8 at the international this year, because like when they're on fire, they're just on fire. This is, if I was Signature Trust, I would not know what to say in a team talk after this one.